from the 80s when, when it was really going down. That's when it really started began. Then everybody was getting killed for no reason. You know what I'm saying? Everybody else got killed.
What if I told you someone sitting in a prison cell could still control everything happening on the outside? Who gets targeted? What moves get made? All of it. Sounds unreal, right? But this story right here might change how you see it. Back in June 1999, Brooklyn was already tense, but then things took a sharp turn. Damian World Hardy, locked up at the time, allegedly put together a list, 4 names, and out on the streets, a guy known as eBay was the one carrying it out, step by step, all while the orders were coming from behind bars. Let that really sink in for a second. One of the first names tied to this situation was Darryl Homicide Bomb, someone already connected to a major incident involving 50 Cent on a Brooklyn street corner. After that, everything started escalating fast. By the time it slowed down, multiple violent events were linked back to the same circle. And the person said to be given directions the whole time, he was engaged to Lil Kim. Yeah, how does that even happen? To really get it, you gotta rewind a bit. Early 1990s Brooklyn wasn't easy, especially in places like Bedford-Stuyvesant. Buildings falling apart, communities struggling, people trying to survive however they could. And in the middle of that, 2 brothers, Damian Hardy and Myron Wise Hardy, built something powerful out of Lafayette Gardens. They called it the Cash Money Brothers, or CMB. But don't mix it up with the music label. This was a completely different world. CMB built a stronghold over their area, constantly dealing with rivals and protecting their position. According to federal claims, things were intense and ongoing. But here's where it gets even more interesting. Their activity didn't stay in one lane.
And my hands, my legs several times, like 5 times in my hands, and then in my legs, and then in my face.
Did you ever find out who did it?
Yeah, I knew who did it shortly after.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they are now where?
Oh, the guy who actually shot me is dead.
Hardy would identify where major parties were happening and crews would move in. So now you've got one group operating in the streets while also stepping into the music scene at the same time. That overlap, that's risky on a whole different level. And right in the middle of all this, Hardy's personal life looked completely different. By the late 1990s, he was with Lil Kim, one of the biggest names in hip-hop. Her career was on fire, her face everywhere, her music topping charts. And their relationship wasn't hidden. They were living together in a New Jersey mansion and even got engaged. Be honest, would you ever expect that kind of connection? What's wild is how separate those worlds stayed. Hardy kept a low profile, no spotlight, no interviews. Meanwhile, Kim was everywhere. The only ones who saw both sides were the people close to him, watching him move between 2 completely different lifestyles. Then June 12, 1999 changed everything. Myron Wise Hardy, his brother and closest partner, was caught in a serious dispute in Lafayette Gardens and didn't make it. The situation was linked to a rival figure, Ivory Peanut Davis, who had been pushing into the same space. And even though he was locked up, things didn't slow down at all. According to testimony, he immediately started putting plans in motion. While his brother was still holding on, that list of 4 names came together, people believed to be connected. And to handle it, he turned to someone with a reputation for getting things done, eBay.
What appeared to be a serious relationship with Lil Kim. How did you meet her?
Me and Kim was in 1st grade together. Went to school together. We grew up together.
Then on May 24, 2000, things reached another level. Outside his grandmother's house in South Jamaica, Queens, 50 Cent was caught in a shocking situation. Multiple rounds were fired, and he was hit several times across his body. Somehow he made it through, but it took nearly 2 weeks in the hospital to recover.
And that moment, it didn't just stay local, it shook the entire hip-hop scene. So now I gotta ask you, was this just street issues spilling over, or was it something way bigger happening behind the scenes? Now here's where things get even more intense. The person believed to be behind that attack was never officially charged, but on the streets, one name kept coming up, Darryl Homicide Bohm. And this is where it gets strange, because Bohm wasn't just any guy. On one side, he was known as Mike Tyson's bodyguard and longtime friend, both of them coming up together in Brownsville, Brooklyn. That bond was real, built from the same neighborhood, the same struggles. When Tyson needed someone solid next to him, Bohm was that guy. But on the other side, Bone was also tied into the street world, moving in circles connected to Lafayette Gardens, where conflicts didn't end with words, they escalated fast. About 3 weeks after the shooting involving 50 Cent, things took another dark turn. Around 1:40 in the morning on June 10, 2000, Bone was reportedly set up. A woman lured him to a corner in Brooklyn, Quincy Street and Marcy Avenue. He was sitting in his car, waiting, and then eBay walked up to the driver's side window and fired. Just like that, it was over. The car used to leave the scene was allegedly driven by other CMB members. Bone was only 34 years old, but it didn't stop there. The reaction spread beyond the streets. According to testimony from people who later cooperated with investigators, when Mike Tyson found out who was responsible for his friend's death, things got heated. There were claims that a $50,000 hit was put out on Damian Hardy. Word of that alleged bounty traveled fast. Some members of CMB were reportedly talking about going after Tyson in return. At one point, someone even thought they spotted his vehicle and considered acting on it right there. But that plan never moved forward. According to what was said in court, it was shut down quickly. And just like that, a potential situation involving one of the most famous athletes in the world was avoided. Meanwhile, the original list kept getting checked off. Bone was just the first. After that, James Hamilton was targeted. Then Tyrone Bone. One by one, the names were being handled. And then came the final name, Ivory Peanut Davis, the person believed to be directly tied to Myron Hardy's death, the one who started it all. On August 10, 2000, Davis was sitting in his SUV outside Club NV in Manhattan. And that's when things erupted again. Multiple shots rang out, and Davis was hit while inside the vehicle. In a desperate attempt to escape, he tried to drive off, but lost control. The SUV jumped the curb and struck a pedestrian nearby. Media reports focused on a shocking SUV losing control and hitting an innocent pedestrian. Simple, right? But the deeper story, way more complicated. What most people didn't realize is that this entire situation was reportedly connected to decisions made far away inside a prison cell in Brooklyn. Crazy how something set in motion from behind bars can ripple out like that. By then, every name on that supposed list had been dealt with, and on top of that, an innocent life was lost in the chaos. The person carrying it out, eBay, was no longer just a name in certain circles. By the early 2000s, he had built a reputation that had people across New York paying attention. And when your name starts ringing like that, others come calling. One of those names was Kenneth Supreme McGriff, a powerful figure out of Queens. He had his own situation to handle involving a man named Troy Singleton. Instead of handling it within his own crew, he reportedly reached out for outside help. You can probably guess who stepped in. Behind the scenes, multiple federal agencies had already been watching closely, building a case piece by piece. FBI, DEA, NYPD, they were all locked in, gathering evidence to bring everything down at once. So the real question is, when the spotlight finally hits, who's getting caught up in it? By July 2005, everything finally started catching up. Federal prosecutors stepped in and charged 13 members of the Cash Money Brothers under racketeering laws. This wasn't just about one situation. They tied together years of activity, laying out how everything was connected, from the street operations to the structure of the group and the violence linked to it. And right in the middle of it all were Damian Hardy and Aaron Granton, both taken into custody with no bail. It was serious from the jump. But here's the part most people don't expect. The case didn't wrap up quickly. It stretched out for nearly a decade. 10 years of back and forth in court, delays, arguments, witness prep, all of it. And during that entire time, Hardy and Granton stayed locked up waiting for the outcome. Imagine sitting that long knowing everything is building against you. When the trial finally got going, things moved fast. Multiple former associates stepped forward and testified, breaking down how everything allegedly worked, from the inner structure to specific incidents and how orders were passed along. According to reports, that testimony hit hard and stacked up quickly. Then on April 29, 2015, the verdict came in. Both men were found guilty after just a few weeks of trial. Hardy was convicted on numerous counts tied to racketeering, drug activity, and coordinated violence. The sentence, 6 life terms back to back. Granton received the same. No chance of getting out, ever.
By that time, life had already moved on outside of all this. Lil Kim was in a completely different chapter, far removed from that past. What once looked like two worlds colliding, music and the streets, had fully split apart. And the man who once lived alongside one of hip-hop's biggest stars, now just another federal inmate, serving out the rest of his life for decisions that traced all the way back to 1999. Makes you think, was it ever gonna end any other way?